race fans, the Odds Couple is back, a special holiday edition, a special Saturday edition of the Odds Couple, and a special guest. Matt Metz returns here, and of course, if you followed along, Matt was the guest a couple of times last year, and his picks was very well. And Matt works for Equibase, and he's a chart caller here at the track. If you can briefly kind of maybe fill in the folks on what you do.
Well, basically everything that you see in the program comes from us. So all the PPs and comments and just everything that's collected that goes into a program, it comes through us.
Yeah, so there's a couple of guys here that work for Equibase, and they watch the race, and they call the charts to each other. They write everything you see, all the stuff in all the publications you read the handicap of. That's where it comes from, Matt, and here Arnie as well. Now, so if anybody knows what's in this program and knows how to read these and handicap it should be the guy that's writing it, right?
Knowing how to read it and knowing who's going to win are two different things.
Yeah, it is, but well, hopefully we can put them on some winners tonight. I know you have some strong opinions throughout the card, and including, I think, one in the single six. There's a carryover in the single six of $10,388. Also, the high five hasn't been hit the last couple of nights. There's a carryover in that of, I think, $4,500 and maybe $20 in it, or just shy of that. So 8 races on the card. Wonderful night of racing here, 50 degrees outside, and the poly track, of course, is fast. First race starts the pick 5. There is a scratch in number 3, Golden Ready. Leaves a field of 7 to go a mile and 16th. Maiden 15 to 10 claimers. Matty, you want to start this off?
Oh, yeah, I'll go ahead.
All right.
I put the one on top. Ian Wilkes coming into Turfway, you don't see that often. So he's one of the top trainers in the country. So anytime you see him, plus you add the leading rider, you got to go with him on top.
Good angle.
So I went also with the 7-8. The 7's dropping down from maiden claiming 30 at Churchill coming down here. The 8's really interesting. Ran a very solid race last time at Indiana. Dropping down from maiden claiming 32. Had a troubled trip at Churchill 2 times ago. So with both those drop downs, I almost put the 8 on top, but I went with Ian Wilkes and leading rider instead.
That's a good angle, and I was teetering back and forth between the 1 and 8 as my top pick. I end up going with number 8, Rock on Kitten, for all the same reasons you said. This one is making a class drop here, Son of Kitten's Joy. Those horses love the track here on the poly. We see those things run very well over this track. Now, he has a 9-time maiden, but he's 4-time second, likes to be in the money. I used him on top just narrowly. Number 1, Illidan is from the, like you said, Ian Wilkes barn. Now this one's making the first start off a brief freshening, but making a big class drop. That's a big move here. Ian jamming this one in, gets the leading rider. And then I like the 7. You have to use a 7 if you're playing anything. But I was trying to add some value. If I'm going to use 2 short price horses, I threw in the 4, a King's Ransom, just a complete flyer. This horse on debut for 40 was third beaten 5 lengths up at Colonial, and then went to Laurel after that in a waiver claiming and kind of bored out early and just ran even after that. But class drops here, takes the weight. Virginia Tormey. Dane Kabisky's a very good trainer, and I just couldn't leave him off the ticket 8-1 on the class drop. And a race outside the 1, 7, and 8.
Yes.
It's, you can throw darts, I think. So first race, maiden 15-10 claimer, started up pick 5. Matty's going 1, 7, 8. I'm going 8, 1, and 4 in the opening race. Now, race number 2 starts the 50-cent pick 4. Pick 4 last night, I think the late one paid $17,000 and change, maybe. Mm-hmm. So we have been paying, and also I've noticed a trend here. The dime supers have been paying huge.
Yeah.
I think several of them last night was over $1,000.
Yeah, the pick 5s are almost always being hit. Mm-hmm. So people, I don't know. Obviously there's hardly ever any singles in pick 5s, but when there are, you're getting bombs along the way because it's paying very nice.
If you can find that one strong opinion and get a single home and spread in the other races, you get paid very well here.
Oh, yeah.
The pools are big, low takeout, full fields.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of money in action, a lot of, there's a lot of combinations. And last night, the early pick 4, I think, paid $1,100 or $1,200, and you had a free space in the first leg. A Wesley Ward horse dropping, I think his name was Crypto, he's the son of Bodemeister, dropping him for the 30, ran out the TV screen. And then you had a couple of double-digit horses. And then the horse that won the 4th race of the sequence, race 5, was a horse that was 5-2, I think, on the morning line. So you get 2 very logical horses, then you spread the other, and you don't have to spend very much money.
No, and there's good prices, so you're going to get a high payoff with good prices.
Yeah, so I'm hoping to get that tonight and get out of here with some money. I haven't even went Christmas shopping yet. So
Well, after tonight, hopefully you will.
hopefully the pockets are full. So I'll start the race 2 out since you started the first race out. This race, I'm going to go with number 6, Sperling on top. And I just looked at the TV screen.
Yeah,
We
I
had the
mean,
exact
yeah,
same number.
yeah.
So we did not talk before this tonight. So we'll see why he came to his conclusions. Number 6, Sperling. I think the race sets up for this horse. I think the horse benefits from a trip over the track. That was the first start on the synthetic, but he has showed an affinity for the synthetic. Now this horse is 11 for 13 on the synthetic, 4 wins, 6 seconds, and a third. Johnny McKee up top. He'll be rolling late. He's going to get some pace to run at. That's why I'm using him on top. Number 8. Tap and Fire. Now, this filly is by Pleasant Tap. She's a veteran, 7 wins, but she hasn't raced very much for being a 9-year-old, 39 starts. But what I like about her is another one that's on the synthetic, although not here. She's got 2 wins, 3 seconds, and a third. And ran most recently 3rd place finish, beaten 5 lengths. Closing in, again, a race with a lot of speed. This horse, even though it ran for 5 last time, it is actually taking a drop because this is a dated 5 condition. And so I'm going 6-8. Then for 2, I Got It. This is another one who has a trip over the track. That was just the first start off the layoff, and in fact, the second start in just a few months. And the horse just missed to War Eagles Love. That's a horse, I believe, from Anthony Stevens' stable. And this one likes the poly. 2 of its 4 lifetime wins have came here. So I'm going 6-8 too.
Yeah, no, I mean, almost the same exact reasons why. If you look at the 6, for the, you got 11 times out of 13 on all-weather track. That bodes well, obviously. Here was a no-match second last time out. So, he's due. Or she's due, sorry. And then same with the 8, I went with the same reasoning. You look at the Arlington track, and it's all-weather. Good record there. Very nice races there for the same company. Basically. And then when you round it out with the 2, was flying last time out and just basically just missed over this track. So we know that she takes well to it.
So there you have it. We're both on the same numbers in the exact same order, 6, 8, and 2 in race number 2. Now, I know you looked at the card very in-depth for this. You're excited about coming on now. Are there any horses in tonight? Because I know as we spoke that you're also a chart caller here. Is there any horses in tonight that had some serious trouble trips that when you notice they were in, you're like, man, I can't wait to use this horse on the show? Or
that is usually as a chart caller, that's one of your angles. Because obviously you see
we're early into the meet tonight right now, so there's probably not many.
Yeah, there's not many
yet.
coming back yet, but that's one of my angles that I try to use. Is I try to use trouble. That a chart caller's eyes see different trouble than maybe a handicapper or a casual fan's eyes. So I try to use that as an angle when I come back and handicap a race for this show. Unfortunately for tonight, I couldn't use that angle that much.
Right.
So there's not really much that I could say, hey, this one, he or she are going to come back and really romp off the trouble trip. Unfortunately.
Well, hopefully next time you're on, we'll have some of those, as we like to call them, wall horses that we write their names down on the wall when we see something like that. And of course, it's always on here. You guys do a great job writing the charts, and if you just follow along and read into it, you'll notice when. But so we don't have that angle tonight. But third race starts a single 6. There's a carryover, like I spoke of, $10,388. Nobody solved it last night, and tonight's the last night we can get it before the holidays. So we're going to take a swing. We'll put together a ticket, come back on here later. But as far as your top 3, Matt, how'd you find this race?
I went with the 8-7-2, same numbers as you, just different variation. I put the 8 on top primarily just because she has a very good record at this track. Hasn't been here, this year obviously yet, but as far as all weather, 4-6. You got Mojica on, who I think is a very, very strong rider. And then coming from Churchill, dropping down in class from Churchill. So that's basically why I put her on top instead of, with the 7.
Yeah, that's some good value, 8-1.
Yeah. So, the 7 has very good all-weather records. If I'm handicapping Turfway, what I like to do is it's different than handicapping Keeneland or Churchill or any other dirt track, because you try to see horses that perform well over this track or any other kind of all-weather surface, because just like you choose horses that run well on turf, it's that same reason. So that's why I tried to always make sure I circle those horses. And then I bottomed out with the 2 for that same reason, 2 for 2 on an all-weather track, which happens to be our all-weather track. So
yeah,
I don't see any reason why any of those 3 can't complete the trifecta.
Right, one of those horses on that same trend last night is one of those ones that blew up the pick 4. The horse Virginia Tormey won on, I think it was in the 3rd race maybe. The 10 horse for Stacy Slova, same thing. Had raced here like 4 times, had 3 wins, and the horse goes off pays $23. And earlier in the meet, Doug Danner had one that done it, and this horse is a Doug Danner horse who has an affinity for the track. Number 7, Roulette Cleopatra, who I put on top, basically for the same reasons. You can't throw the horse out when the horse is better than 50% lifetime wins here and has raced 21 times.
Yeah.
So 11 wins from 21, gets the class drop. Rogelio Miranda up top, Doug Danner, very good trainer. I have to use this horse. And 8 Sugar Cube, for all the same reasons. Like you said, this is another one 50% here locally. And 2 for 2 on Old Center. And this one here at the track, she's the daughter of Stephen Got Even. Hasn't raced it September at Belterra, but I think it's one you'll have to use. I'm going 7-8-2 Mats on the 8, 7, and 2. Race number 4 from Turfway. We celebrate Hannah Schlink's 15th birthday. And this is a non-2 15-10 claimer to go 6.5 furlongs. In the 4th race, all started out. And I'm going to probably go a little bit different than you here. Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah, because I thought maybe you'd be on the 3 as well, but I was going to spread with some prices after that. Logical horse in the race, number 3, Spiral Gyra. It's a son of Verrazano, racing for the Paradise Farms. Mike Maker trains. Martin Garcia has the call. This one was plucked last start for the $20,000 level off of Michelle Lovell at Churchill, where the horse made the pace and was 4th beating the link. Gets a positive jockey change to Martin Garcia tonight. Horse had a little bit of trouble last start, it appears, on the short comment there, but Mike's elected to wait and run this horse after the horse is out of jail and take a slight class drop for the 15, taking a bit of an edge. The only knock I had was, there is a little bit of speed in the race, and the horse is drawn towards the inside with the 2 scratching. He's going to move into a spot, down to the 2 stalls. So, but I still like the horse. I think on talent, I'm going to use the horse on top. Now, number 10, Another Day at the Lake. This is one that was a fast-closing 3rd at Churchill Downs with Flo Joe up top that day. And there's another one. I'm a handicapper, like you said, that likes to key in on troubled lines and troubled horses. And this horse, I bet on this horse last time at Churchill, and it's one that I wrote down and was been waiting for it to get back in. So I'm using that one 8-1. And then number 11, True to Dixie, Helen Pitts Blasi, sends this one out with Luan Machado. Second just miss at Churchill last start for the 10. That's kind of comparable to the 15 level here. Yep. And I had to use this horse. This horse will be closing fast. Luan Machado rides the track very well, and he's good. I think he's a better rider from off the pace than he is a speed rider, and I think he'll fit True to Dixie's late running style. 3-10-11 for me. How'd you see it?
Well, I went with the 7-3-6. I want to stay away from the even money morning line favorite just for that reason. There's no value involved. That's why I took the 7 horse feathers on top. Again, another theme. I love Jimenez. Think he's the best rider here. Very strong. Usually always leading rider here, so obviously knows how to ride the track. He has he has not won on an all-weather track, but he does have 2 wins and a 3rd. If you look back at his 2 races at Presque Isle, very solid races.
Yeah, those are good races, those 2 second-place finishes.
Yeah, so if they're claiming 12-5, but again, if you look, pretty much the same company realistically. So I decided to put a little value on top to see Jimenez at 10-1. You got to jump on that.
You don't get that a lot here.
No, so I had to put the favorite in there second, just because, dropping down, coming from Churchill, I love the jockey change, so that's why I had to put it that.
That's why I mentioned that, because I knew you would get on that.
I'm big on jockey changes.
Yeah. So I mentioned it's kind of a little segue. I knew you would. Yeah. You would take it and run with it. So who'd you end up for 3rd?
Completed it with the 6 Warrior's Dream. Just another Churchill horse coming over. I just want to add more value. I could have easily went with, the 11's value. I almost penciled him in, but I decided to go with a different kind of value.
I'm using the 6 also on some of the multi-race wagers, the pick 3s and doubles, and probably I think I threw the horse in on the pick 6 as well. Let me look here. No. In the pick 3s, I'm going to use the horse. So I'm probably going to single Maker in the pick 6, just because I think you have to spread so much later. I wanted to have a single somewhere. I don't have a really, really super strong opinion on the whole, especially later. I'm going to have to spread, so I needed a single, and he's the most logical winner for me.
I have a single I love later.
Do you? Well, we'll get to it. Maybe I can change my ticket.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. So that was race number 4. Now we head into the 5th race. 5th race starts the 50-cent pick 4. And last night, it paid over $17,000 in the 50-cent late pick 4 last night. And it starts here in race number 5. It's a 3-and-up non-2 claiming event. The claiming tag $7,500. They'll go a mile and 16th. and I think there are a couple of scratches. Yeah, well, actually one. Part of the entry 1A Candy Kingdom, the also is out. And I'll let you take off here and tell me who you like.
Well, we had the same horse on top, Sunday Scaries. So, I mean, that was an easy one. Morning line favorite. John McKee, who's riding very hot right now. Stephen Lister, very good trainer.
Does a great job.
Yeah, and another one is dropping down in class. Already has a race over this surface. Hasn't won on this surface or another all-weather track, but has run a race here already this meet. It was a very nice race. Just moved up down the lane. Was mid-track. So. Which is where you want to be here.
Right.
Everybody comes flying into the lane in the middle of the track, which just happens to be where they are. So if he can get another run the same way, drop it down in class, facing lower class horses compared to what he came out of, then he has a very good chance. And then I went with the 2 Icy Street second, another Sonny Leon horse who I had in the previous race, coming from Churchill, obviously, and then Santa Anita before that. Was nowhere close in any of those races, but it's Churchill and Santa Anita. It's a little softer group here.
Yeah, $7,500 level.
Yeah,
He's probably in with his friends.
Yeah, was running allowance races at Santa Anita, so dropping down for $7,500. Had a troubled start last time, was slow in his stride, which could be a reason why he was so far back. So I decided to throw Icy Street in there for value, and the same reason I threw the 12 in there to complete the try, just for that reason. Now. He's 1 for 58, which means he's a proven loser, which you don't usually like to put on top, but has a race over this track already this meet, was another flying down the lane.
He doesn't win a lot, but he does.
Comes second a lot.
Second and third.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at that, he's got 20 first or second or thirds already,
Right.
besides the 1 for 58. But I try to always make sure that I don't want to put a 1 for 58 on top,
Right.
no
I
matter
think you
what
have
the
to
value
use the
is.
horse. I agree. You have to use the horse. The horse that won that day, that was a free space. I thought that day, Messiah. And the horse I think was claimed out of the race was class dropping. I think Ron Moquette maybe and Alex Conchari teamed up for that one.
Well,
but
he broke slow too, so he had to come flying late, which he did. And Serpa's back on it, back on him, so you have a value, and so that's why I completed the try with him.
the horse ran probably the best race of his career last start. He's usually up and after the pace. Probably the best thing he could do. Maybe they learned something from this horse.
Yeah, which happens a lot. You realize that you can change a horse's riding style by accident.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's what happened with this one for Hugo and Ron Nikhils. Now, we're like you said, we're for the same reasons we have the 8 Sunday Scaries on top. And I went for a horse that's going to be a price just because of the pace scenario in here. Maybe Darkness Beauty will go with Orlando Mojica from the Garcia barn, but I thought the number 9 horse would maybe get a clear lead on synthetic debut. And I'm a little partial to the horse.
Well, of course you're going to pick.
Yeah, of course I'll pick number 9, Sergeant McNerney, named after a relative of mine who was a U.S. Army soldier and the recipient of the U.S. military's highest decoration, the Medal of Honor. And I'm going to use this horse for that reason. Jockey Joe, an Owensboro native, has the call for his longtime supporter, Red Dog Hartledge, and I'm just taking a flyer. I followed this horse. I actually cashed on him when he win the race at Oaklawn, rather, and I think he paid like $34 or something. And I'm gonna go back just for the reason, because I think, what if he gets loose on the lead?
Yeah.
Obviously, the 8's the horse, but I have to use him on the ticket. So I'm gonna put him second here in behind Sunday Scaries, and then for third, I'm gonna go for number 3, Run This Town. I liked what this horse did when he was claimed last start at Indiana. Came off the shelf and was a runaway winner. Now it was for $5,000 level, but that was a kind of a decent race there at Indiana that day. There were several horses was dropping in for the 5, and the horse did it very, very easily. And a racetrack that day was very speed biased. The horse was the only horse really to close. There's a couple, but to close from that far back and win like he did was impressive. And I'm going to use this horse, Ricky Short, off to a fast start at the meet. He's only raced a few horses. He hasn't been off the board, I don't think, yet at the meet. 8-9-3 for me, 8-2-12 for Matt, and that's the 5th race start of the late pick 4. Now the 6th race here at the track is the Have a Merry Murphy Christmas race. Those folks partying up on the 3rd floor here at Turfway every year for this wonderful event. I think they have about 25 or a group of 30 coming here tonight, and they'll be up on the 3rd floor, and we wish them a happy holidays as well. Now, the 6th race is a filly and mare 12-5 claimer to go a mile. One of my stronger opinions of the night is in this race. I'm interested to see how you found it.
Oh, are you talking about the 8 or?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, obviously don't have.
Well, everybody has different opinions. So
Yeah, exactly.
and
So no, I
I
decided
might
to
have
go,
to use some other horses now.
Yeah, no, I decided to go with Kim Hammond and Prescott. They're always a great team. They run very well here, obviously at Indiana as well. Now she doesn't have a great record at Turfway,
Kim or the horse?
no, I'm sorry, Majestic Bull, the horse. But runs fairly well on an all-weather track. Already has a race on the surface. Seems to be a common theme tonight.
Right.
Coming out of the same levels last time, ran a solid race. Just happened to falter down the lane. Just maybe tonight, she gets a little better, a little softer, and then carries on instead of falters. But that's the reason why I went with her on top. I almost actually went with the 5 on top for one reason.
Loves Turfway?
Loves Turfway.
Yeah.
Obviously loves the all-weather track. Peggy Pate had a win last night.
Yeah.
So, and might be, the speed, a speed. But obviously the main reason is because of the record here.
Right.
Last
horse
year.
absolutely loves the track.
Yeah. She ran great on it just on the 3 times that you can see last year towards the end of the meet. A win, a second, a third. So you had to throw her in there for that reason alone. So that's why I went with them 2 on top.
And you're going to round it out for third with the 1?
Yeah, another dropper. So I decided to go with her.
She should be forwardly placed, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, I question mark a few horses with speed, just because that's what I like to look at too, just to see who's going to soften the pace up.
Well,
maybe somebody come flying late. But
Right. Generally, that's my angle here because I love deep closers. Now, with the warmer temperatures tonight, if we were racing all this week and even next week, I think on Christmas, but when it gets warmer here and can water the track a lot, then the speed is good.
Mm-hmm.
We noticed that a couple of days here early in the meet where speed was really, really golden. But I think tonight the temperature's like 50 degrees right now. It's a great night out, so I'm going to take a wait and see approach. I'm still going to bet, but the first couple of races and see if any horses, if speed's really good and the inside's real good tonight, I might change my tactics later.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you're 4-5-1. I'm going to go 8-9-5. I love Flirty. The horse 2 back at Churchill for the 16 level had a horrible start. It says also improved. Angel Serpent was up now. Joseph Ramos has the call. He's doing very well here. You get a break and weight. Horse exits a 1X here, trip over the track. We've talked about that. That horse was beaten by Rogue 2 from the Danner barn. We've talked about him. Now, number 9, Tempestuous Amy. This is one that had a horrible trip last start, too. I'm a trouble trip guy. This horse loves the track. The horse is better than the race she ran last start. Malcolm's back on her. Malcolm knows her now. I think this horse will run much better than she did last night. I don't mind. I don't mind using this horse at all, 10-1. Even though the horse ran 9th, beat 7 lengths, I know she's better than that. And 5 for the same reasons as you. She loves this racetrack. 8-9-5 for me. 4-5-1 for Matt. Well, race fans, at this time we're going to take a pause for the cause, and we ask that you please rise. Kindly remove your caps as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into Turfway Park. The windows are open. If you'll take out your racing programs, I'll give you tonight late program changes. 8 races on the card here from Florence. Temperature in the upper 40 degrees, nearing 50 here with 26 minutes to post. And of course, the polytrack is fast. In race number 1, start of the pick 5, scratch number 3, Golden Ready. Number 3, Golden Ready has been withdrawn. Race number 2, start of that early pick 4 is clear, no changes, race 2. Also in the third race are no changes in the start of the single 6. Don't forget the carryover, nearly $10,400. Race 3 is free and clear of any changes. If you'll page 2, race 4, fourth race, 3 scratches. Scratch number 2, a quality individual. Scratch number 13, Portobello's Hero, and number 14, Amani's Kitten, 2-13-14 scratched from the 4th. In the 5th race, start of the late pick 4, take out the also eligible 1A Candy Kingdom. 1A Candy Kingdom's out. 6th race from the track, scratch number 7 is Secret Trick. Number 7, Secret Trick, has been scratched. Race number 7, a pair of scratches. Scratch part of the entry, the 1 Never Even Called. And scratch number 5, Jimmy Joe. 7th race numbers 1 and 5 are out. 8th race with that high 5 carryover of $4,517. There are 2 scratches. Scratch the 11, Mysterious Lou. Be aware the 13 draws in off the also will race. Scratch 14, Devil's Daughter. Ladies and gentlemen, those are changes at this time. Any changes coming in throughout the balance of the program, I'll get those to you as they do so. Welcome back to the pre-race show here. Jimmy McNerney alongside Matt Metz here. And Matt and I, we got through the first 6 races prior to the break. We're going to look into the final 2 races on the card. And I think race 7, good quality allowance race, of course, $48,500. And I think this is where we find Matt's best bet of the night.
Oh, without a doubt. Definitely the single and the pick 6 ticket. For me personally, I absolutely love the 8 Infinity in here. Another Wesley Ward with Corrales on top, which they are absolutely on fire.
Yeah, they're crushing right now.
Yeah. So anytime you can get a Wesley Ward horse, obviously him and Maker pretty much rule the training standings here every year. So you can never go wrong with there. He is very lightly raced, but does have a win and a second already over the surface, which was towards the end of the meet last year. So obviously, again, loves the all-the-weather track. Coming in with 2 races at one at Keeneland, 1 at Churchill, 1 last time at Churchill in the very high allowance
that was a tough race.
Yeah. So I mean, any allowance race pretty much at Keeneland and Churchill are tough races. And then ran very, very well in the allowance race at Keeneland, and then followed it with a win, like I said. So definitely would easily be my single with that combination of rider and trainer. Just the fact that he's lightly raced and then coming in from Churchill and Keeneland with a win already, and now coming back here where he originally broke his maiden last year. So huge. I love it. Love that.
Yeah, so 3-1 in your best bet of the night. After that, who'd you put underneath?
I put the 2 and the 4 underneath. I want to add some value because I wholly believe that 3-1 morning line, I think he's going to easily be 9-5, 8-5 by the time.
So you had a 12-1 shot for second, horse that loves the synthetic?
Yeah, so I chose a 12-1, chose an 8-1 to put on top just to add some value. Like you said, loves all weather. Perfect 4 for 4 in the money already. Has not run on our weather or our all weather track, but obviously does run well on it. So that's a big reason why I put him in there to go along with Albin
there's a lot
again.
Of speed in the race.
Yeah. So I get it. Yeah, you want to have a closer.
I'm going to add him now.
Yeah, so you want a closer if you have a lot of speed in the race. And then, went with another value pick at 8-1 with High the Demon for pretty much the same reasons. Another horse has not run over our track, but has run well with 2 wins in a second and on an all-weather track. So for those reasons, coming out of very tough, huge, allowance option claiming 100,000 at Churchill. Didn't run terrible, only got beat 2 3/4.
Jumped
so
when they kicked it.
Yeah, exactly. So coming back down, had a hopped at the start, so had a trouble coming from a $100,000 race, coming to Turfway, likes all weather. If without Infinity, he would have definitely been my top pick at a great value at 8-1.
Right. There's several horses in here in behind that horse that I think you can use. I'm going to use him. It is a 3-year-old facing older horses, but I'm going to try to beat him. And for the same reasons you tried to beat Maker earlier, thought that my best bet of the night or most logical winner. For the same reasons, I put Mojo Man on top just for I thought that maybe Infinite would take some money. He does shows a good series of works here, but Mojo Man is son of Stay Thirsty, coming out of some good quality allowance races at Churchill as well, and does have a win on the synthetic. Martin Garcia up for Jimmy DeVito. And then I'm going to use number 8, Infinite, all the same reasons. Loves this track, good trainer, good jockey, great breeding, and been training very well. Lightly raced horse, as you said. And then number 10, to Stay Happy, off a recent win at Churchill Downs. And that was a pretty decent starter race. The horse is going to have to run better. But I thought maybe the horse would, probably the same reasons that you used the 2, I thought maybe the horse would need a lively pace up top and will be closing late. Now, he's much closer to the pace early on in his career at Belterra when he broke his maiden, but that was against much lesser quality horses in this field. So obviously it put him closer to the pace.
It was going 5 furlongs, right. So you want to be up close, especially going 5. If I can remember correctly, calling that race last time at Churchill, Lannery stayed with him on the rail.
No,
came into
not Lannery.
No, there's no way Lannery stayed on the rail. But he surprisingly he actually got off the rail into the lane, came into the 3-path, and then altered out even further, and then just drove past and cleared.
Right,
which is a hard race, for a starter 50 at Churchill.
Yeah, so he's 7-2 on the morning line. I'm going to add him for third just for a flyer there. 6-8-10 for me, 8-2-4 for you. Now that takes us to the 8th race. The high five has gone unsolved for the past few nights here. Carryover $4,517. Now that is a dollar base bet. And in the 8th race, there's a scratch of the 11 and 14, and the 13 does run off the also eligible. This race I thought was wide open, man.
Yeah, I was actually getting ready to open with this was the toughest race to handicap on.
It was. It definitely was for me. I'm going to use, if I go back here to the pick 4, I'm going to use as many horses as I could to stay under the budget. In fact, I'm using 5 horses in there, and then in the pick 6, I think it's the same 5. Let me just double check. Yeah, so I'm using 5 horses in here. And I'm going to lead off with number 2, Happy Peddler. She's the daughter of Verrazano, making a class drop. Gets a break in weight with the 7-pound apprentice, Javier Padron. Now, this jockey has a couple of wins here at the meet.
This week.
He's been very well mounted. It helps to have the horsepower. And I think he has the horsepower here. I know great owners, great trainer in David Fawkes, and this one is very well bred. And she jams in for the 7,500 here and should be forwardly placed. Inside draw, though, that's the only thing. But in a race that was wide open for me, I put her on top. Number 8, Smarty Artie, nothing to write home about when you look at the form.
No.
But Wesley Ward, Ken and Sarah Ramsey, and Alvin Jimenez. But if you look at that 15 at Woodbine, and you go back and look, those horses in that race, the winner came back and won. The horse that was second came back and won. So decent race it came out of. Has experience on the synthetic, albeit it didn't run very good, but is training here. Wesley Ward, Ramsey, Jimenez. I have to use the horse 7-2. After that, number 1, Tarnished. She draws the inside, going to 6.5 distance. I don't like it, but I think they might outfoot her a little bit early, and if he can get her out and clear, this one's making a big class drop. I only got beat 14 lengths in a straight maiden up at Indiana. That was a very good race. That was another one where several horses came back and won their subsequent start out of that race. And Stephen Lister, we spoke earlier on him. He's a very good trainer, always wins everywhere he goes, and certainly does very, very well here. I'm going to use that horse for third. A couple other horses I'll use in here. I think you're using one of them is the 10, but I'm going to throw the 9 in. Gold Ladybug shows nothing on form. But look at the most recent work, 1 of 10 here at Turfway. I've watched this filly in the morning here, and she's training very well. I'm going to have to use her in my late pick 4 and late doubles. So 281 is my top 3. How about you?
I do love key races, by the way. When you can look back and you can see, whether you're at the track, you're watching it, or you're calling it, or whatever. If you can remember a horse and then I like to put them on my stable mail. And then what I like to do is I like to look back and see who came second, third, fourth, even fifth to that board. Yeah, and then usually, depending on how the winner won, like Dennis's Moment, for instance, I put every horse that came behind him at Ellis when he broke that maiden by 16 or 19 and a half or whatever it was. So that reason, I do love key races, but I went with the 10 on top. I love Malcolm Franklin as a rider here. The horse, she is dropping down.
That's a lot to say because you hate jockeys. You love them.
No, people think I hate jockeys. Love them. Great human beings. But I like jock changes. That doesn't mean I hate somebody. I just like jock changes.
You think there's a positive jockey change from Kane into Franklin?
I just think Malcolm rides here more. Declan is off and on. He's decided to come here for December this year. I think he's leaving for Oakland next month. But Malcolm has more of a, he knows his track more.
Right.
Works out more.
He was leading rider here, 2 years ago, both meets.
Yeah. He's a very strong rider.
Yes, he is.
So it's nothing against Declan. I just like the jockey change because of that reason. For the more familiar with the track. The horse is dropping from 25. Hasn't raced since August at Ellis, but ran a very nice race there. Just tired late.
Gatewood Bell. Very good owners. Usually has horses with Wesley as well. Gatewood's got a couple of wins at the meet as well.
Yeah, and you got John Hancock as a trainer, which you can never go wrong, to the king of Ellis Park.
Yeah,
so,
the mayor.
So you go there, and then I decided to round it out with the 2 and the 8. Pretty much the same reasons that you went with the 2 on top, dropping down, coming in from Churchill with, from 30 to 7,500 here is actually a very big drop. You're getting a weight allowance. And then same reason I went with Smarty Artie, Wesley Ward, the Ramseys, We Miss Artie as a sire, and Albin. So those are my reasons for that.
Well, Matt, thanks for having us on, and certainly value your opinions. And, we were pretty close, and some races were not. I'm going to add a couple of horses that I probably wouldn't use without your insight there. So just to recap, your best bet of the night was Infinite for Wesley Ward.
Easily.
In that non-3 allowance. I think Maker earlier on in the card in the the 4th race with the 3. So thanks for coming back. Hopefully we can have you on a couple more times.
I
this
hope
meet.
so. I love doing this. This is great.
Yeah. Play along. 14 minutes. The horses are on their way into the paddock for the first race. Good luck tonight.